Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beauty Outlaw. And a shout out first to my new sponsor, New BioAge. I love all their products, but one of my favorite we're going to talk about right now is Lucery. I take it just as directed. I'm telling you what right now. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Lucery is a low-dose supplement. This supplement mimics the benefits of fasting and exercise without you needing to starve yourself or live at the gym all day. Now, you know I love the gym, but you don't need to be there all day. It actually helps your body improve how it uses NAD+ and activates something called the SIRT1 pathway. It's the most powerful longevity and repair pathway we have in our body. That means more energy, more recovery, and reduced inflammation, and cellular function that supports real age prevention. If you want science that actually works, this actually works. And because you're part of my community, you can try it today with 10% off using the code TheBeautyOutlaw at checkout. Just go to the link below, check out New BioAge, and get that discount. Because at the Beauty Outlaw, we do not chase trends or biohackers. We lead with science, results, and longevity that works. All right, welcome to the Beauty Outlaw, and he's back. Lashell is back. I'm so excited. Not only do I love Lashell, and I met him because he came on the podcast, but I love him, and we've become friends. And welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Jerry. I'm so glad to be back. And yes, we are friends. Very happy to be back.
I'm so proud of you and all that you've accomplished, especially pushing the needle in regards to men's skincare.
Yeah.
And more than that, their wellness. Yeah. So you are really pushing the needle with that, and you have really moved it, because I see it all the time.
I appreciate that. It's something that's still very, very, very dear to me. And the more I'm in this industry, the more I still see the need for it. And just being out in the world and talking to men about this and just kind of getting a feel of where they're at with wellness and skincare. A lot of them are still in the dark about it. So I'm like, oh, great. Still more room for learning and education and improvement.
But those Gen Zs, they're very, very interested in skincare and doing skincare programs. Have you thought about utilizing all the knowledge and passion you have and wrapping that into a bottle for these guys?
Of course.
And is that going to happen? Of course.
It is actually going to happen. So I started to work on the one thing that I started working with men with, which was folliculitis and shaving issues. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be for the professional, and it still may be for the professional, but I am working with so many different men personally that I thought, how can I make this better for the consumer? So it's something that I started to map out. And I have to be honest, when it was first asked of me, I was so afraid to do it yet because I was still in the beginning processes of getting myself out there. But I was at a workshop, Acne Preston Douglas workshop, and two of the girls that were there said to me, are you going to do something for men for shaving? And some of my clients said, when I'm working with men clients, the first thing they're always asking me is, well, now that I'm doing this thing with you, how do I shave? And I'm like, oh, let me get you something that you can refer to.
Let's talk about that, though, men and shaving, because this is a big deal. What happens exactly to their skin that you see that you can help treat? What is it? I know what it is, but explain it to everyone.
Well, it's first of all, it's a direct, I keep saying it's a direct wound that you keep repeating and aggravating to the skin, but it's something that they cannot avoid. So the first thing that I see is a lot of scarring because men tend to shave really quickly. Some tend to shave with just water or foam, the wrong products. Hyperpigmentation happens, especially on more darker melanated skin. For more fair skin tones, I see a lot of rash, a lot of razor burn. So those are the things that I initially see at the ready. Long term, for more of my darker black clients or more black men, I see a lot of folliculitis and them not being able to treat that and them kind of re-inflicting that shaving wound onto them, onto it each day. I'm so sorry. So I see a lot of that as well.
And so implementing a protocol more than aftershave might actually help them.
It helps a lot. I really have gotten to the point of just showing them skincare is the best way for pre and post care. It just is. It has the ingredients and the nourishments, the vitamins, everything that your skin needs to sort of re-collaborate itself back. And more men are starting to understand why. For instance, I tell a lot of Black clients when I ask them, do you shave? And they say, yes, I do shave. How? Razor. Are you using a shaving foam? I said, stay away from the foams because that tends to dry our skin out and can really reinstate the folliculitis.
Yeah,
right?
That was great
so
advice.
So the first thing I say to them is, do you have a cleanser at home? And they go, yeah. Normally, if it's a gel base, it tends to be a little bit easier. So I tell them if it's a gel-based cleanser, please use it because it kind of can help. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more easier than a shaving foam, and also a pre-shave oil. Now, I am a fan of more natural oils. It could be something like a rosemary oil or even an avocado oil. And the right olive oil, not all olive oils are great for skin. But I try to tell them to incorporate oils before they shave so we can kind of protect the skin barrier and then go on to using their shaving gels. And so little steps like that. And also my favorite, which is hyaluronic acid for aftershave.
That's a great idea. It's perfect. It's light enough. And I don't think guys like the gooey, ooey, thick stuff.
No, not really.
Do they?
No.
They're kind of simple.
Simple. Some guys do. Some guys do. Some guys are all for it. But I personally think that it just absorbs into the skin nicer when it has a nice water gel-based viscosity. The skin needs the hydration and it needs the inflammation to go down. And so I think that sort of consistency of a hyaluronic feels really nice to me after you've been shaved. Even if you've used a clipper, it just feels really, really nice.
What do you think about those close shaves they do at barbershops where the hot towel?
Oh, I love.
I was just going to say,
No, I love
isn't
it.
that great for the guys
It's
with the folliculitis if they do it often enough?
I don't know if it's great for the folliculitis because most barbers are not really versed in skincare. And I actually just went to the Master Barber Academy and did a class for them.
Good, because this is what I hear. I hear if you come back often, we can get rid of your folliculitis.
Yeah, right. No. That's not true. That's not true at all because most of them don't understand technique and they don't understand skincare. And I'm actually going to go to Paul Mitchell to teach their barbers as well about this as well. No, the hot towel treatment, the shaving treatment is a beautiful experience. It has nothing to do with skincare. Most barbers that I've encountered don't know the ingredients that work well on a basic level, let alone individually. So I don't think, but there are barbers who are now starting to incorporate folliculitis treatments, but they're far and few in between. I have seen some barbers who are doing things on the back of the neck. It's all separate. They're extracting the hairs, but they still don't understand the right skincare, post-care to use afterwards. And that's why you see them at the shows trying to figure it out.
And that's where a great product line might help them sell on their shelves to their clients after they treat them. I think that would...
So I was going to say, well, thanks for bringing it up. So I actually had, it's so funny. I had been really afraid to do anything products. And this is all because I had imposter syndrome. I just started my business for 5 years. I was just getting the name out there, getting people used to me and getting men used to me. And the idea of starting my product line financially was like, I can't do this. But it had always been in the back of my mind. And this year, through my wonderful mentor, Douglas Preston, he is fantastic. He was like, it's time. And I said, well, great, because I already have the product. I think I want to do a small line of retinols because I think that's the one product that can work for folliculitis and razor burns and hyperpigmentation for a shaving client. The other ones I'm still working out, but that one I think I've seen better benefits than not. when using a retinoate. I never say that right.
Retinoic acid.
Retinoic acid. But retinoate is a little bit...
Retinoate is a little
less.
It's a dialed back.
Dialed back. I like the dialed back.
It works a little more superficial. You're right. Then the retinoic works deeper, more in the cell layer.
Yeah.
You're working in the epidermis and right where that follicle crunches like a spank.
Right there. And so I like that because for my darker clients, I can start them off really slowly, like mandelic, then retinoate, and then move on. And so the idea of, I said, okay, fine, I'll do this product thing. And I think that's where I'm going to start at. And I'll just start with that one, maybe a couple different ones of just retinol-based products.
Look at what's happened since I saw you more than 8 months ago.
Well, here's the thing. I'm surrounded by these professionals like yourself, and I'm like, everyone's kind of doing this thing called products, and I'm like, maybe I should. And one of the reasons why is too is because I said this before. We are in the I love doing what I do and working with people, but I still have to sell and I have to make a living, and products help. Not just the clients, but they help. Well,
you are the expert.
Yep.
So if you are the expert, then you owe it to the client to give them your expertise that they can use at home.
Right.
You actually owe it to them.
Right. No.
And this is what I try to share with estheticians. Don't be afraid. Get out of that mindset.
Of selling.
Of selling.
Right.
Because that's why they walk in the door.
They want the education.
Yes.
They want the education. And that's why selling for me was never an issue. But here's the thing. I am the expert, right? And I was thinking about all the ambassadorships that I have, and I have a lot, and I really love the products that I'm using. And my clients have just followed me on that journey. Why not, Lashell? Why not sit with the chemist yourself? You understand, formulations. Sit with them and create something for yourself and your product. And your clients are looking for it too. They want to deal with me specifically as the expert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazon, we're done. Yeah. If somebody's walking in to your space and willing to spend $150 to $250 to $300 on a 45-minute to an hour treatment, they value that time. They're not going to leave. They don't want to leave and buy something off Amazon. They want what you have to offer.
Yeah. They do.
You're kind of putting that all together now and giving them that extra level.
And I would encourage estheticians now who are now looking to extend on their businesses that same point, right? That I'm starting to really dive into. Like, wait a minute, I have all the knowledge too, and it does belong. It should come back to me in this way. Yeah, so I was slow to the party, but I am here.
Showed up.
I showed up, and I'm ready for it too. So glad to be doing it. So I actually have a conversation this week with a labeling company and product company to see how it all is going to come together. And you know what? Kind of excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is
to
go
down
fun.
That process.
How
was it for you?
It was. I'm not fearful of anything.
I know you're not fearful of anything. I know you have no problems.
I look back and I say, oh, shoot, I should have had a little bit more fear. Now, today, though, I did have fear. Let me share with you real quick fear moment. So we shifted the podcast today. We're in this. We're over here instead of over there because Lashell came on twice. And I thought, let's do it in a different space. Well, guess what? I was on the dark and dirty side, meaning my view. I had this moment at 56 years old where I'm not ready to show her because she's the ugly side. So I went through the whole fear and then I said, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to do it the way we're going to do it. You just have to sometimes just do what you're not comfortable with and what scares you.
The most.
And you've done it and you're doing it. I love that. And you shared, if you haven't watched, I'm going to talk to the audience because if you haven't watched the first podcast with Lashell, you really have to because we won't get into his journey, but it's completely authentic. It's very, very actually shocking because if you meet him now, you would never put that together. how he grew up. He's actually not even from the West Coast. He's from the East Coast. He goes through his journey and his life. And I encourage you to watch that because it will show you who you are and how you came about with this amazing journey into men's wellness, now into educating, now into making your own product and leading the charge with estheticians so they have hope into the future because they're valuable.
Yes.
They're valuable at what they do.
I am so glad you said that. I was just thinking about this morning and I was thinking about coming on and how would I word this? I think last year I was so busy trying to get myself out there and latching on to so many different things. And it all was very helpful, by the way, the conversations that I got to have publicly in our industry, sitting with someone like yourself and trying to, I was a little kind of concerned about what we can do as estheticians and how our hands are tied and how
tied.
How the industry, how the legislation is trying to really kind of come down on us because they see the value, I believe, and they're trying to kind of give it over.
Absolutely,
right?
They're hijacking.
And I was like, you keep running from the thing. What we do has so much value. Once you understand all of the technology, the treatments, and also understand what your fellow practitioners do and how you can align with them. And that's what I've been doing this whole entire year. I don't know if you noticed, I kind of stood back a little bit from social media. I had some things in the works so I can keep
It's
playing.
all consuming.
Yeah.
It's all consuming social media. Get you out of your own head and into the perspective of all of you out there and what you think of what I'm doing instead of doing what you did, stepping back and saying, this is what I want.
I had to because I realize I love this work of being an esthetician, especially now because it's such a very person-to-person, hands-on thing. And so I needed to step back from social media for a little bit and really focus on the craft. Right? Really focus on the craft. And I did things like I'm working with a dermatologist, just part-time. We're having conversations and I have to give a shout out to Dr. Zoe Indigo because a lot of dermatologists don't see the value or respect what we do. But I have conversations with her, as she's building her practice and she brought me on to work on her clients.
That's wonderful.
And through that, I get to do more hands-on treatments. I get to really experiment. And through that experimentation, I'm starting to see, wow, estheticians don't really understand the scope of value that we really bring to the table to someone like a doctor or a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon. And so that's been really important to me this year was really not only building my own practice, foundationally focusing on my own sales and treatments and loving on my own clients, but just really getting the education and knowledge down pat too so that I can show the estheticians down the line that we have such value.
You nailed it because right now I try to tell estheticians don't be sold into the world of aesthetics. You will be literally a slave to it.
Yeah.
Because they want to hijack your service to monetize it. And it bothers me so much, but it's business, it's capitalism.
So
it's not their fault. It's not the doctor's fault. It's not the spa's fault. They're like, okay, we have these estheticians. We have been
conditioned, ladies and gentlemen, through this world.
I work in a med spa.
Integrative.
No. Right now, nurses are tapped into you and taking your business away from you, and they have no scope to do it. Although through protocol, they can perform certain treatments that are taught by vendors that they can do in their room, which no shade to that. Hello, I am a nurse as well. But what I've seen is we're losing that grassroots ability to heal.
Yeah.
And when that's gone, the people suffer.
So we can't turn our business into an AI model.
No.
Right? And so
that's what's wonderful.
That's the thing. I had someone who is a nurse who wanted to have lunch with me.
She wants to learn from you.
Honey, and here's the thing. this is where you have to be a business person. I will have lunch with anybody. You can learn from me. I love giving away my information. Please don't mistake that. But I had to be really smart. I said, this person wants to learn from me and take what I do and make it better for her. Now, mind you, she's a lovely person. I'm also in the works with probably working with them, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I can't do this lunch right now because I just didn't feel really comfortable to do it at this time right now, especially as I'm establishing myself more and more and more. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. They want to learn from us. And I think there's a little bit of resentment of the state giving it to them, wanting to get the doctors to take it all. Mm-hmm. And there is this element that's missing that they won't. And here's the thing. Maybe they will learn from you and they may still not have the time to do
they don't have those times.
They don't have the time.
That's not what they signed up for. And I'll tell you what's really happening. Filler is tanking like the Titanic quickly. Yeah. The volume of it. And what's happening are things like more natural services like PRFM. Yep. Well, those clients are coming in for those services. They came from an esthetician in a holistic wellness way to transfer into something that maybe wasn't aesthetics, but it was close to it. Yeah. So they are now trying to have their nurses try to resemble an esthetician, and it's just not the same. So my suggestion to all my RN friends is go to esthetician school.
Right.
Spend the $1, just like estheticians are having to do. Spend the $1 and go back and learn the trade, the basics, what it's about. And then I'm not angry about it. I'm just like, wait a minute. Yeah. They're getting pressure because they're slower and they're trying to find a way to fill the gap at a disservice to the patient. Hugely. Because we need, as esthetician, you need to come in with value like you do and say, no, I'll come in and I'm going to bring value to this practice, right. But I am independent. I don't need you to practice.
Yeah.
The nurse needs you to practice. Through their scope, they need an order to practice. Every patient they see, they cannot go and open up a spa and put their name on the outside.
No, I know.
They need a doctor to give them an order on every single patient. They need a medical chart. Yeah. We, as an esthetician, have the power to treat, heal our patient through what we've been taught with our healing hands and our knowledge and education of everything out there when it comes to
skin,
health and wellness and skin. Hi, everybody. This episode is sponsored by Pretty Girl Cosmeceuticals. These products are the best. If you're not using them, you need to use them. You can contact JKH Aesthetics anytime, and we will give you a consultation about how to use these amazing products. We have Glow Girl and Ice Drops. These will keep you young, healthy, and glowing every day of the week. And now, back to the episode.
We're taught the thing that I always say, skin is the largest organ of the body and everything comes through. So we really are understanding the structure and how skin cells work with certain ingredients and products and how it just works with the environment. And I don't know if nurse practitioners even get anything like that in school, right? I don't think so.
There's none.
So even if you're learning what I'm doing, you could still never do it at the scope and level of which we're doing it as estheticians. So the client is still getting a disservice, right? And I'm so sorry, a little bit, I'm not resentful, but I am a little bit frustrated because it goes down to sales.
It does.
It's sales. Can I get throwing products in their hands? You don't know how many times I've spoken to clients who've come to me for treatments after they've seen nurse practitioners and gotten the fillers and gotten the Morpheus and gotten Clear and Brilliant and, fill in the blanks. And the products that was given to them because it was a popular product.
Yes.
Or a popular brand. It was a trend. And it did not work for their skin. It did not heal their skin. Mm-mm. And this is what I'm trying to say. We can be an asset to you, but I think there's some respect that needs to happen. When I say asset, I'm talking to the nurse practitioners and the doctors and the dermatologists who are trying to sort of pilfer from us.
It's no different than the respect they give that laser they purchased for $200,000. They need to respect the esthetician that comes in as her own entity because she is her own entity and she's giving a lot of power to your practice.
He too. It's okay. No, it's okay. But see,
shame,
this is
shame,
no, it's okay.
shame.
It's okay. It has been a conditioning thing that women.
It was a woman thing.
It's a woman
for
thing.
Many years.
Yeah. And it's still kind of seen as is. And we talked about this at the end of the last one,
We did.
where I said, this is the only industry that the men are the minority.
Totally.
Right?
Well,
But
maybe like I don't know, maybe like a plumber or something. A plumber?
Yeah.
There's not very many women that are
women
plumbers.
there, right? But this is so there is so we're coming in. There's a couple of us out here, but to your point, I have to stop for a second. Oh, to your point, I was saying about the nurse practitioners. The doctors don't realize what a huge asset that they have in an esthetician if they honor and respect them. And when I say respect them, you respect them financially. Because most of the estheticians that are working in these practices, they're not getting paid very well. And they don't really understand what the doctor's doing.
It's $22 an hour, guys.
Right. Right? Honey, I make, for what I could do in 5 patients, I make in 1 session. Okay.
You're getting $22 an hour or $25, depending on where
you're at. 25 is the most, and then your commission on sales.
If
right?
you get commission.
Right? But I'm going back to something that I just don't understand. Most of these estheticians are there, and they don't understand some of the treatments that the dermatologist or the surgeon is giving.
Right.
And the surgeon doesn't feel that they should know these things. I think they don't. They leave estheticians to do their own thing in their offices while they're there, or they have these very small protocols. And I go, what a missed opportunity, because we are the client retention. If we understand what's going on in that other room, we can work with your client. We can keep them coming back.
Well, it's
for more.
retention.
It's retention, like I just said. It's like, come on,
It's
Maron.
retention.
I'm sorry, use that word.
Well, no, I love that word, actually. I love that word.
It's my Jersey.
It's coming out. It's coming out. What I want estheticians to really dig into, especially here in California, everyone. In California, I would really, Lashell and I, because we need to talk, because I really am working on leading the charge on this, because I feel that we need to change some of the scope and expand it, not out of school, but beyond school. Certificate programs, things like that allow you, we do that with nurses. So you get out of school and you're not allowed just to go work and doing injectables. You need a certification.
Right.
So it's the same thing, I believe, with an esthetician. In California, a lot of the estheticians think they can go work in a medical spa or for a medical doctor and do microneedling and do all. You cannot do that.
I thought that at the beginning, and I
You
shared
cannot
with
do
you. No, you
that.
cannot do it.
He has no value over you. You're separate from him. He cannot give you orders. He has no protocol over you.
Nope.
And guess what happens when there's a problem? He's going to leave.
Yeah.
And you're going to be left alone.
And you
And
know,
lose your license,
and it's just out of your scope
possibly.
of practice to even
It is.
do anything that breaks skin. You can't even use microneedling. I made that mistake when I first got
Which is wrong.
my business. I made what?
No, it's wrong that we don't have that scope.
No, I wish that we did, because other states
Do.
right? But I made that mistake when I first got my license, and I was really gung-ho about working with a medical doctor, and I thought that I had to go to do. I had got suggested to do a medical program, so I did medical assistant, because we could draw blood. I learned how to draw blood, and I got it. I got vetted by a surgeon who is actually a big name now in Beverly Hills, and we sat together, and you're my guy. We're going to do this together. I'm like, yeah. When we did our research and realized that, honey, you can't even break the skin. I didn't know this.
Right.
You know, I didn't know this at the beginning, and so I was a little disappointed, and that's why I kind of hungered down on how do I maximize what I have in my own hands right now. But yes, I think there is a misconception, because there is emerging with the products, medical grade products. Estheticians are talking about medical grade products. They're talking about these services, but some of them don't realize that there's a cap to what they can do.
There's a cap to what they can do. But they don't realize their power either to bring to the table. They have so much power because the aesthetics industry is looking for that space, because right now we're in I don't want to say recession, because that's a big word.
Yeah.
But I want to say things are transitioning a little differently. People they're watching what they're spending their money on. TikTok's out there. They're buying a million different products. And they're not doing their filler anymore. And that was a huge money income for those spas. They're not doing facelifts as much as they used to either. So how do they leverage? Would they get an esthetician in there, and they think they can have the esthetician do all these modalities that they're not allowed to do,
Right.
and they pay them hourly, and they take from them their worth. And pretty soon they're a slave to that industry, and they shouldn't be. They need to remember what you've got is boundaries, and there's more.
And I had to learn that. And I had to learn that more so in the past 2 years. I'll be honest. I'll tell everybody, I've had my business for 5 years. As you know, I just celebrated 5 years in February.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was a little intimidated by doctors, a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Meaning because I still knew what I can do in the treatment room, and I knew how to serve doctors.
Well, they've worked hard, right? They've
right.
spent a lot of time on their trade.
Yeah, I don't want to make...
You honor that.
Right, and I do honor that, because at first I was like, oh, the ego. No, it's not. These people have worked really hard, and they spent a lot of money on their education.
Yes.
So here we come walking through the room at 9 months in the certification, and they're like, what?
Who are you?
Who are you? But the difference is, one of the biggest things that I think is missing, and I've said this before, is there's a sense of connection that we get to have with our clients that doctors and nurses don't get to have because of their day-to-day.
They don't have the time.
And I think that's the thing that is profitable.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the real profit. Yes, products are great. Yes, treatments are great. Yes, the understanding of that is great. But what's really profitable is that person-to-person contact that so many of us are missing. On top of, now you're going to help my skin look healthy and feel good. You're going to connect me to other parts of wellness. That's the real profit. And that's what I think the doctors are missing. You cannot duplicate that because you've learned from me for 5 minutes.
Right.
You either have it or you don't. Nurses used to have it.
They used to
in
have
the 30s and 40s, a long time ago, when they were really about bedside manner and care, things that we do.
Yep.
And then the treatments and protocols and things that they needed to do to help heal.
Yes. And now, if you've been in the hospital recently, and again, no shade to nurses, because a lot of my friends are working in the hospital right now, and they do work hard, but even the intel I get from them, it is not the same industry. It is very sterile. Yeah. It is very unemotional. It is very check the box. You're too worried about your job. You're too worried about liability, and you move on from relation. And relation is what heals.
Yeah, that's the real healing. When I'm sitting there doing certain protocols on men, and I can do 2 men have come in, they have sort of similar things going on, and I can do sort of the same protocol, but it's the conversation that allows me to change the ingredient and the way I touch them, the way I feel. It just all works out very differently. It just more substantially, and clients feel that, and they understand that, and they know it. And I can see that in their skin. I can see that. And you can't be a conveyor belt, But no. I have to respect that. I understand why.
How it happens.
Well, the nurses and the doctors, how things have become a conveyor belt for them. The demand on them is huge.
It is.
And the demand on them to
exit that industry is huge too.
Oh, is it?
So exiting that industry because of those pressures and moving into the space of aesthetics, where to them, from hospital to aesthetics or plastics or that world, they slow down a lot. They get that breath of, oh my gosh, they feel like the communication, they actually get to communicate. They have the time to have relation. But if even take it one step further and slow down even more, you have your esthetician, which you're able to have that connection, that touch, that confidence, the power over if they're coming back in the door. I talk about the first step. I have a new course coming out called The Art of Consultation.
Okay.
And it's about that first 7 seconds. Yeah. That first 7 seconds you meet somebody, either you establish trust or you don't.
I agree.
And if you're moving around about the cabin like this, constantly running around, and you walk into this fast-paced situation, and you're there to get your lips done, or you're there to get a quick facial treatment, it feels differently than when you walk in and you have somebody coming in. There's smells in the room that you've never smelled before. There's aromatherapy smells, and you're greeted by somebody that's calm and present.
And the questions we ask.
And the questions.
Tell me a little bit about your
lifestyle.
touch. Right.
Grabbing. Come on back. It's so nice to meet you.
Tell me a little bit about your lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about your day-to-day activities so that we can understand the level of stress, so that when we see things on the skin, we can know how to address it. But those questions are just in and of itself it makes a person feel seen.
Absolutely. And they're vulnerable to you, because there's a difference between sitting in a chair. When I assess somebody and I sit them in a chair and hand them a mirror versus when they have to get raw and lay in my chair for me to remove their makeup, that's a different place. That's a different level of trust.
Then you coming in with sort of what is the pad, and, check, where's the filler? It's just, I've seen it. And like I said, dermatologists, plastic surgeons don't understand the missed opportunity that they have. And I think sometimes, and this is just my opinion, that they think a little small. They don't see the money in us right away. But if you work closely with an esthetician who knows what they're doing and can work alongside you and understand what you're doing, the money will come. And the clients feel that, and they see that, and they will continue to come, and they'll tell others to come as well, too.
Absolutely.
So that's something that's really big that I'm really working towards.
I think that they need to give them not a bigger piece of the pie, but realize they're an independent contractor coming in and give that value, and not bring them on as I think estheticians should go in strong and say, I want to be in here. Do you have space for me?
Right.
And I'm going to be independent because in my scope, I need to be independent. They can be the word, what are we using now? Entrepreneur?
Yeah. Soulpreneur.
Soulpreneur. Everybody's an entrepreneur. By the way.
Everyone is.
I'm so sick of the entrepreneur name.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? Given the climate of the day, listen, if you have to make your own way in this world because of what's happening around us, I'm all for you.
Soulpreneur.
Soulpreneur.
Newer. I mean, we've got all
kinds. What's this?
Esty-newer.
Oh, that's
newer. So it's like esthetician.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't
like it,
say that one.
But I heard it.
Yeah.
And I think I heard it on TikTok.
Oh, Jesus.
But I just feel like I just don't want it. What I mean by I hate the name is I feel like I don't want it to lose its power.
It loses its power because we just tend to take things down into a funnel. And just
yes,
process.
Just becomes like the word we hear all the time, and then it means nothing.
You said something about knowing that they have power. I think I want to add to that piece. When you walk into that doctor's office, don't just say that I want to be in your office. Make sure you have the knowledge of what that doctor does so that you can research the protocols you can create. That's what I do.
Yes.
I've done that. I've gone in, did my research. Hey, I want to be here.
How can I support your practice?
How can I support your practice? I'll ask them first because they may have something that they want to prioritize.
We can be a win-win.
Right? If you don't, based off of what I've researched about you, this is what I can bring to the table. Bada bing, bada boom. Do you understand? Yeah. And so that's how you bring value, because at the end of the day, this is a business. They want to know, what can you do for me? And I don't really want to have to monitor over you.
Right.
Right? And so it's up to you to do your research, and that's solopreneurs.
And them knowing that you can be independent and separate from them and have their own business within theirs. Listen, that's a win-win for them.
That's a win-win for them.
That's less liability.
Win-win for them. So I think
you got a lot of power, Esties.
A lot of power, man. A lot of
power. Don't give up.
Even the ones here in LA, I always kind of draw back to here because they really got us.
I know. We suffer here.
A little bit, yeah. But I said, this is why I stepped back a little bit. I tried to say, what is that power that I have? But beyond the emotional and spiritual and mental piece of this whole thing, because that challenge, it redevelops that when you start to, do your self-work. I had to really look at my protocols differently. For instance, I use a particular machine. I don't know if I should do a shameless plug, but it's a very integrative. I can do about 20, 30 modalities on that machine. It has mesotherapy, it has hydrodermabrasion, oxygen, fill in the blanks. And the dermatologist that I'm with is just kind of like in awe. Because I said, yeah, you're using this particular type of laser, you're using this particular type of device. I can back that up with packaged treatments to kind of keep the maintenance going. Do you understand what I mean? Like, so you have to really understand your tools in your toolkit. Because that gave me power. I said, oh, yeah.
Well, you're doing the hand holding and the follow up that's so needed.
Yeah.
And that's what sends them off to the next piece or the next trend.
So I don't need to do the Morpheus machine. I want to learn about it. I want to know about it. But it's not going to, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to make me the most money or give me the most, adventure.
Right.
I can use the things that I actually have. You just have to understand all your tools in your toolkit in terms of your machines, your treatments, and your ingredients.
Absolutely.
Protocols are important.
Protocols are important.
And be able to step out of those protocols a little bit too.
Yes.
I love that.
I hope that our estheticians learned something today because they have a lot of power. And they need to realize that. And my hope is to encourage them to do that. I think big things could be coming for California. I know other people listen to the show that are outside California, but we really need to come up with some lobbying, some policy, so we can expand this. I know it's been tried, but I think it was the wrong time.
Yeah. Well, I think the way this is going, at least this is how I'm feeling about my own personal business. I'm really starting to delve into that part of knowing more about legislation, and so I've been talking to some people, just learning a little bit more. I'm an advocate anyway. Like, I'm very pro everything that's for the betterment of everything. And so for our industry, I definitely am just learning right now, but I would love to be on the forefronts or part of a team of people who are doing that. Are you planning on doing that?
I would love to.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of changes need to be made, though.
For sure.
I think that it's first in our training.
Yeah.
Our training to be looked and valued at, especially in the science-based world, we've got to go back and redo the way we learn.
Well, now they're just...
in our schools.
Yeah, well, the schools now are just trying to get people to stay bored.
It's about money.
Yeah, and they're not even really getting them to stay bored in a really... significant way.
No.
So a lot of things like what you're doing and what I'm planning on doing or building outside workshops are really helpful. And I would really have estheticians who I already know are doing this, explore the veterans in the industry, like Jerry, like myself. And I would also say this is the one industry that honors age. Think about our aging treatments. Come see us. We can actually help you explore and extend and expand.
Absolutely. I'm going to end on that note.
Okay.
Because that was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know. We rambled a lot, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of big ideas. We are the oldies in the business.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we've got some more, no shade to anybody else that's older than us, because there's some great estheticians out there that are in their 70s and 80s just killing it. Amazing.
I know. My mentor is still doing it.
It's a business that you can keep doing.
Yeah.
And because it feeds your soul.
Yeah.
And that's true longevity, really. When you work with people and build them and give them love and health and wellness through your fingertips, you're a healer. And we need more of us, because ChatGPT, I guarantee you, is not going to heal us.
Well, no. They can't do mesotherapy.
No, they can't.
No, cannot.
So we have more to come, and Lashell and I need to talk or go to lunch or something, because I do have some ideas. And I would like to implement those for you, the esthetician. And if nurses are interested in more of this, they really need to expand a little bit and maybe go to esthetician school.
I agree with that 100%. Put some respect on the game.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard to find an esthetician to just train you outright.
Yeah.
Because that's a skill that's hard to train.
But here's the thing, again, I'll say it again. You can train and learn from them, but do you have the capacity to give the clients what they actually need?
Yes.
So you're doing a disservice to yourself by not doing that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nurses.
Nurses. They just want to be a part of the love. They're excited about it.
Yes, they are.
I get questioned all the time.
They are.
I want to do that part. Like, how do you do this? And that's exciting because it means there's the needles being moved. And I love seeing that.
Well, let's move it where we're working together.
That's the goal. Together.
Integrative.
Integrative. Thanks, Lashell.
Thank
so
you, Jerry.
we always do our Beauty Outlaw toast at the
I
end
know.
of it. Now that
What do we
we've
have?
I've really set the stage for how I feel.
Pellegrino for me.
Pellegrino for Lashell.
She remembered.
Because Lashell does not drink.
At all.
The Beauty Outlaw does. Longevity. No, alcohol is not great for us, but we're going to toast to it anyways.
All right. No
All right.
problem. Yes.
Thanks, and I'll see you next time on our third episode.
Third episode. I'm so honored.
You're the best.
Is this going to be like Johnny Carson and Bette Midler? You're going to have me on.
I think what we need to do is when we have another, we need to do like people ask us questions about what is out there and what's new and what's trending. Because I had that on the list today, but we didn't get to it. We wanted to talk to estheticians.
Oh, you should have told me. Okay, no problem. Next time.
Next one. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next
Bye.
episode of The Beauty Outlaw.
Beauty Outlaw. Thank you.